That's number 3. Exactly. Outlook is the #1 project management tool. You're laughing, but it's true. Yeah? It's sad. So what I wanted to show you is really look at from the perspective of the things we do in our organizations today, the kind of matters we work with, and what kind of tools we should use. So again, just these different pictures. A lot of the issues we face, things around varying needs and maturity around project management. Earlier, there were conversations around, well, there's small matters, there's big matters, there's portfolio that we need to work in, and that's so true in any organization. It's not a one-size-fits-all. So that's a challenge. How do we handle that? What kind of overhead should we put on that? Another key challenge is this age-old question, what's everybody working on? How do you figure that out? I know how most companies do it, even in legal organizations. Every Tuesday morning, you guys get together, pull up some Excel. I don't know if we can take on more work. Can we take on this new gig? How do we prioritize? How do we manage our demand? Never happens, right? I know we need more people, but how do we figure that out? And then this other challenge around visibility. Tom showed this nice-looking dashboard earlier, and that's huge, especially with partners. They need to consume and interpret information quickly. By the way, that's a secret to career success in the legal industry. You want to be promoted to be a partner right away? Tomorrow, you go see your boss and just say one word, dashboard. Now, so with all these challenges, the concept and idea I want to pitch to you is the idea of making everyone happy. And that's quite possible in the Microsoft stack of tools because the needs around project management varies, even you're working in the legal industry. And there could be basic needs around collaboration. So you might have this opportunity that's just started. It's not a full-blown matter yet, but you got to start researching, writing proposals. We need to start there, but it's just small. We don't need this big thing. Well, what about if it goes to a full-blown matter where you need visibility? How do you demonstrate the information? And then the other end of the spectrum, how do we make sure it works with tools people already use? And I'm big with that. While I can talk big on technology, how great 2013 is, apps and all that, but at the end of the day, if nobody's using it and they revert back to email, that's not success, right? So you have to think about that. How do you drive adoption, not only at a technical level, but at the partner level, at the customer level, and even at your day-to-day user level? So how does Microsoft look at project management? Project management options, other than email, really falls into 3 buckets with Microsoft. One, obviously, in SharePoint, and I'll talk more about that in a second. And where does SharePoint fit in? SharePoint is very powerful and useful when you think about collaboration, working with people, managing artifacts, managing basic task items, action items. Then if you take that further, if it gets more sophisticated, well, ducks, looks like this engagement would take a couple months, couple years, more people, the schedule would be more complex than what I can do in a task list. What can I use? You can use Microsoft Project, hand in hand with SharePoint, which I'll show you. And then past that, well, Docs, looks like this is going well, and we need more reporting, we need resource management, we need to hook up with our financial systems. Is there anything I can use on the Microsoft stack? Absolutely, and that's where Project Server comes in. So what I'm going to do is step you through essentially 3 steps on how you fast-track project management success with the 2013 suite of technologies. And a lot of what I'm going to show you, I'm going to focus on what's new, but conceptually, a lot of the things that we're going to talk about can be done today in your 2010 suite of products. Okay? So first things first. Regardless of what industry you're in, and you talk about project management, the first step that you have to provide is to allow people to collaborate efficiently. Right? You got to get people working right away effectively, other than email. Because, think about it. Whenever you get a new matter, a new opportunity, what's the first thing that you do? Oh, let me crank my email. Hey, we just landed this deal. Boom. Let's start talking. Where's that template? Where are those artifacts that we have from the last engagement? So you start collaborating. And SharePoint is well positioned to do this. So, friends, let me show this to you quickly. So what I'm going to do is I'll bring up my intranet. So this is my company intranet. We're on 2013. We're on Office 365. So this is our homepage, and we're taking advantage of all the great tools that Microsoft has. One of the things we have is a little menu or a little section here called Projects. This is where we do all our projects. Okay. So let's say we just landed this new matter. So I'm going to go ahead and click this button and say create a new project. I'll call it the ILTA SPS matter project. And again, everything I'm doing here is out of the box. I'm not doing anything, I didn't buy any third-party add-ons, no custom development. It's all out of the box, okay? And I'm going to hit create. So in the spirit of saving time, I kind of did that earlier. So when I hit create, here's what I have. Essentially what it does, it provisions a new SharePoint site intended to manage projects. And the idea is everything around this project, the ILTA SPS matter, will be centralized. So I've got my documents. You saw this. I did a quick demo yesterday. I just drag and drop. This morning, you saw some quick new features. But what I want to focus on is around project management. One of the first things I want to do is start assigning tasks, right? So I assign a quick task here called Research Client to myself. And next is, let's say kickoff meeting. I want to schedule some kickoff meeting. And let's say this kickoff meeting would be on the 28th. And I want to assign it to my colleague, Alex. All right. Now, in 2013, one of the big changes, in case you're not aware of, there's only one task list. You see, in the previous version of SharePoint 2010-2007, there's kind of like two task lists, right? You got your regular task list, and then you get your project task list. Y'all with me? Yes? In 2013, it's just one. It's task list. That's it. There's no two different things anymore. Now, what's new in 2013, I kind of raised this yesterday, is this thing called Timeline View, which is pretty cool. It gives you a visual representation of specific tasks that you want to display in this timeline view, and milestones would be great for that. So notice I entered the kickoff meeting, and what I want to do is display this task to be visible in the timeline view. So what I'm going to do here, friends, is just go to my ribbon interface up there called Task and say Add to Timeline. And notice now I got that kickoff meeting being displayed. And the cool thing is not only is it displayed within my task list, but if I go to the home page, this timeline is being displayed by default. Any tasks or milestones you want to display there visually so it's viewable right away can be displayed. Okay, so that's brand new, and it's cross-platform, cross-browser compatible. Now, another thing to get people to collaborate efficiently and quickly is the ability to utilize familiar tools. And again, I'm big on using SharePoint with existing tools people use and are familiar with. Your Word, your Excel, your Outlook, your mobile. So one of the great things with 2013 this morning, Larry was talking about this. In fact, let me go to my Windows environment just to kind of give you a different perspective on this. So I'm going to open up one of the other projects I kind of brought up yesterday. And this is the executive presentation project I kind of recorded. What are all these pictures? All right. I just got hacked by the NSA. No, just kidding. Don't go to the cloud. I thought it was afternoon. You got to have fun, right? No, I was playing around earlier. Anyway, so okay, use tools that you're familiar with. Earlier, Larry talked about this idea of site mailbox. This is an exciting thing. So conceptually, what is it? A site mailbox is essentially an email account you can assign a SharePoint site. Anybody who's part of that site, so let's say you're in a project, will have access to that mailbox. So notice I have a site mailbox in this executive presentation project. When I click on it, Outlook Web Access, are you guys familiar with Outlook Web Access? It's like the browser version of Outlook. It will pop up. Did I click on it? Okay. When I click on it, it will pop up. So it'll give you the Outlook Web Access of that email account for that site. In the previous version, the closest thing we had for this are email-enabled lists or libraries. But it doesn't really do it. So what's really the benefit of this stuff? So think about this. It's essentially a mailing list, a distribution list for that project. So anytime your team or anybody else needs to communicate anything to that project, they would just send an email to this email address called executivepresentationproject@iltanet.org. Y'all follow me? But wait, there's more. Talking about using familiar tools. Let me go to my Outlook. As long as you're in this 2013 suite of tools, anytime you add a site mailbox to your site, automatically, yes, that's a proper term, automatically, that email inbox will show up in Outlook. Notice I have an inbox called Executive Presentation Project. Other than your own email inbox, that email inbox would show up. So what does that mean? I could interact with it using Outlook. And obviously, it's going to show up on your phone too, right? Other than the email inbox, another thing that comes with Site Mailbox is the ability to surface your document library in Outlook as well. So notice in this executive presentation project documents, you see all these documents, friends. If I go to my project site, let's go back there, and look at the document library, it's the exact same library. It's not a copy, it's the exact same thing. So that means I can interact with the library directly from within Outlook. So if I decide, you know what, I need to take this document and copy it. So notice I dragged and dropped it directly to the documents folder in my site inbox in Outlook. That file in a second you'll see show up in my document library in the site. So this is a brand new feature. Again, you have to have Exchange 2013, Outlook 2013, and SharePoint 2013. The other benefit, talking about, again, working on tools you're familiar with. So let me kind of switch back, shift gears here. So let me go back. So if I look at this, another common challenge we face, we're working on a lot of stuff. You might be working on a couple of matters. You might be supporting a couple of partners. And just keeping up what you have to do is a challenge. We use Outlook to do that, which is great. But then what if your tasks are assigned in a project site such as this? How do you keep up? In 2013, another great enhancement they did is they took a good focus around this idea of consolidating tasks across the board. Before this, you got your Outlook tasks, you got your SharePoint tasks. If you're using Microsoft Project, you got your project tasks. It's all disjointed. Y'all follow me? What Microsoft did is they looked at all that, a task is a task is a task, right? And I still have to do it as ducks. It doesn't matter what tool I use. So what they did, they aggregated all this, and you can interact with this regardless where you are, regardless if you're in SharePoint or Outlook or somewhere else. I'm going to show this to you. So I brought up this thing called Sites, which essentially brings up my sites. And one of the things that we have here is My Task. So if I look at My Task, I click on Task, what do we see? If we look at My Task, it brings all my tasks, regardless if it's in my personal Outlook, the Las Vegas project, the Hong Kong project. Y'all see that? It rolls it up, but even better, if I tick it off, guess what? If I say I'm done, and certainly you can update it based on hours you've spent or whatever metric you want to use, but as soon as I tick it off, wherever those tasks actually resides gets updated as well. Y'all follow me? Which is great. One-stop shop. Even better, let's go back to Outlook. If I go back to Outlook, my task list, again, same thing. I don't have to connect it or purposely add it here. It just shows up. So I have my personal task in Outlook, but I also have my executive presentation project task, Hong Kong projects, whatever. And if your mobile is integrated to this, it shows up on your phone as well. So if I update it on my phone, y'all with me? Now you're making everyone happy. I'm an Outlook kind of guy. I'm a mobile kind of person. I'm a browser kind of person. It's all good on your terms, right? You like these? Okay, good. All right, so you can take advantage of familiar tools, and again, it's not a one-size-fits-all, which is okay, because SharePoint is a platform that allows you to do this. Gone are the days of, man, I got to update it in this Excel file. Ooh, I got to upload it here. Oh, I got to update that. Don't you love it when you have to put the same data in like 10,000 different places and you forgot the other one? No, it just doesn't matter. Whatever you're comfortable with, the platform will let you. Yeah. The second step to fast-track project management is the ability to manage effectively. And this is going up a notch, right? So we talked about SharePoint. I showed you some of the new features. But if you combine it with a tool like Microsoft Project 2013, first of all, who's used Project before? All right, very good. Now, if you're like me, I suspect, and I'm just assuming here, your first experience with Microsoft Project was like that bad first date. Right? When I started using Project, I was an electrical engineer. I'm like, man, how hard could this be? It's end user tool. I know Word, I know Excel, I know PowerPoint, project, I opened that thing up and was staring for 3 freaking hours. Because I don't know what to do with it. But then the assumption is you should know your project management stuff. Huh? So what I'm trying to say here is while this is a great tool, again, it's not for everyone. Okay? You have to have some solid project management background to know what you're doing. And if you do, coupled with SharePoint, this thing is so powerful. So what can you do? So let's go back to the ILTA SPS Matter project. So let's say your task gets a little bit complicated. You need to put dependencies. So if you're not familiar with dependencies, these are, well, I got to do A first before I could do B. If B happens, these 3 things happen. You can't do that in a task list. It's just not supportive of that. So what you do, let me go back to my task list. In the ribbon interface, I'll just hit Open with Project. And as soon as I do that, it will talk to my Microsoft Project 2013 on the desktop, grab the information. The first time you do it, make sure the task, it'll log you in, make sure security, you can do what you're trying to do. And once it's all that done, that same information will now surface in Microsoft Project on my desktop. And what does that mean? It means that now I could do more sophisticated scheduling. Let's see. There you go. That's fine. So as soon as that's happening, so notice that the same piece of information showed up. So let's say I want to put more data here. Research client takes 2 days. Kickoff meeting takes 1 day. In fact, let's reschedule this whole project. This project will start on the 24th. That's the start date. And let me add another here. Design proposal. I'm just making stuff up. 1 day. And being a great project manager, I will delegate everything to my colleague, to Alex. And I'm going to highlight this, all these tasks, finish to start dependencies, they're all linked. One has to happen after the other, and it's automatically scheduled. So notice as I'm doing all this, the cool part is, as soon as I put the proper estimates and when the project will start, Microsoft Project figured out what these dates are. And that's the power of the tool. I know some of you use Excel for this, right? And then you're trying to figure out, the more tasks you have, more people. You can't do what project does, and that's what it does. Scheduling is its key strength. Now, the other aspect I want to do is, okay, I got the 2 in my timeline, so I want to put design proposal in my timeline as well. In fact, there you go. And let me do one thing. Let me kind of change color scheme here to distinguish it. Okay, let's make that red, whatever. So as I'm working on this, I'm saying, okay, let's see if my team would agree with this. Now, here's the cool part. Even if I'm the only person that has Microsoft Project as the project manager on my desk, I'm working on all this stuff. Check this out. As soon as I hit save, what do you think will happen? An error shouldn't happen. What? That's right. That's what I get for downloading from Pirate Bay. Now, here's the thing. You know what? They don't like me working, which, I'm not surprised. I'll just give it to Alex. There you go. Yes, Del. Okay, great. So as I'm doing all this, what do you think happens? This same piece of information, remember the whole Excel thing I did yesterday? Right? It's taking that same piece of information and publishing it back to the task list in SharePoint, right? So now, as soon as that happens, I'm pretty sure it's done. When I hit refresh, voila, that updates I did in project on my desktop is now available on the browser. And by the way, with alerts turned on, all the necessary people will see it. They don't need to have project. Let's take it further. What if it's assigned to Alex and Alex start updating his task? I'm done, I'm done, I'm done. Y'all see that? He might have done it on his phone. He might have done it in his My Site or whatever, or iPad. Y'all with me? What do you think will happen if I go back and open this project file or just hit sync? All the task updates will be visible as well. It'll say it's done. See how much time you can save and how real-time information can be delivered with this platform. So that's just a tidbit of what you could do and be able to manage effectively with a tool like Project. The third step to fast-track project management success is this suite of products allows you to win consistently. And what does winning mean? It varies. Hopefully it's not that guy. Which law firm represented him, by the way? Are you guys here? You see, winning varies, right? And depending on your needs, your stage, Microsoft suite of tools can help you. And this, at that level, Project Server is brilliant. So let me show you what Project Server is and kind of talk to you about how it could support you at an organizational level. So let's say I go back to my, my intranet. There's this thing called projects. One of the things that SharePoint stops is SharePoint is great at individual matters. But if you look at the portfolio, like what he was describing earlier, what if I want to look at big picture view, right? So I can click on projects, and this is Project Server, by the way, friends. I can look at all my projects or all your matters, and you can see slice and dice the information however you want. From a schedule perspective, what about resources? Okay, let's look at resources. So I can click on resources. I can pick Alex and Amy, and I can even look at, okay, what's Alex or Amy working on? Especially, we're a law firm that we live by billable work, right? And let's look at what people are working on. Oh, wow. Alex is working on these matters, and all this time is allocated for, and again, very powerful. So now you can look at what your capacity is, what people's availability are, etc. And if you need to get more people, yeah. So Project Server provides that. Resource management at an organizational level. The other point is from a reporting perspective, you can build dashboards up the wazoo. You can take data, not only within Project, SharePoint, or Project Server, you can bring in information from your line of business systems, your financial system, and provide reporting. Now, before I wrap up, I want to show you some real-world examples here. While they're not in the legal field, but you'll see what I'm talking about. This is the Virginia Department of Transportation public dashboard powered by SharePoint. They track a lot of different things, how their highway performance, safety, their projects, 80%, you know how they worship the red, yellow, green KPIs, right? So you can drill down to a lot of information. And guess what? Not all of this stuff is sitting in SharePoint. Some of this stuff are in Access or Excel, other systems. Another example, this is the Environmental Protection Agency. They're using SharePoint, Project Server, and SSRS, all out of the box, other than the look and feel. Again, you can drill down on certain metrics. Okay, so let's look at this evaluation, whatever it means, and these are all the different projects. Once you click on a specific project, it takes you to the SharePoint site. In this case, it doesn't let me in because I'm not allowed to. So each project or matter is managed by SharePoint, but at a global level, from schedule, budget, to resources, Project Server handles that for you. Okay? So hopefully, in a nutshell, you could grow with these suite of tools, and 2013 is a great step above the past products that Microsoft ever had. So with that, thank you everyone, and hopefully you enjoy that. And if you have questions, let me know. I'd be more than happy to show you stuff.